Canada, the United States, and Mexico will be making a joint bid to host the 2026 World Cup. It is one of the world's biggest sporting events with more than 1 billion viewers around the world. If this bid is successful, it would be the first time a World Cup has been shared by 3 hosts. Joining me now to talk about what it could mean for Canada and how much it will cost, Peter Montopoli is the General Secretary of the Canadian Soccer Association. Peter, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Ben. How are you?
Well, let's start by asking, why a joint bid? Could Canada not host this event on its own?
Well, we possibly could, but I think it's a stronger bid, Ben, when you're looking at 2 other federations. Collectively, we've hosted 13 FIFA World Cups, senior, youth, men's, and women's. In those 13, 5 we've set attendance records. So I think it's a much stronger bid package when you're competing against the rest of the world. And I think we owe it to our region in North America and the region of where we are in CONCACAF to do this as a collective. So it's a much stronger and better organization to be together with the United States and Mexico.
Well, the sense that I'm getting based on sort of the split of the games is we would be 3 partners, but not necessarily a partnership of equals. Tell me, how would it work exactly across the host cities?
Well, you know, from a Canadian perspective, we've said there'd be 10 matches. Mexico would also receive 10 matches. United States would have the bulk at 60. But, you know, we're looking at what are the best stadiums possible within our country. You know, we have some in the West. We have to look at some alternative arrangements in the East. And, you know, that's the process we're ongoing in the next 30 days plus, and then working with FIFA to see what's the best avenue for us in terms of which venues, which cities to be hosting this competition.
Now, do we have a sense right now about, you know, what cities are probably front runners in Canada? I'm guessing cities like Montreal and Toronto, just given our passion for soccer as it is.
Right. And you know, let's start in the West. I mean, we have Commonwealth Stadium that's over 50,000 seats, and we have BC Place. In the East, you know, we have the 2 dome stadiums and as possibly BMO Field in Toronto. So we'd have to really, you know, take a look at what FIFA requires for any one of the venue, but, you know, probably looking at the big cities and the bigger stadiums within our country.
Could there be the possibility, I mean, is the door opening here for certain cities in Canada to use this as the genesis of an idea to build new stadiums?
Yeah, I don't know if it's new stadiums, Ben, but more so I think what we've been talking to our government partners is the idea of what's called in the competition team-based camps, where the countries come in 30 days before the competition and they base themselves in a certain region. And in there, they would train for 30 days prior to the competition. That's really what we need in our country. I don't know if we need 80,000 seat stadiums across the country. What we need are team-based camps, training pitches as a legacy. And we had kind of the same legacy with the FIFA Women's World Cup. We left 18 training fields, the top-class artificial turf in the world across our country, from Moncton all the way to Vancouver. We'd like to replicate that, and even more so for the Men's World Cup.
So we've got a bid organized amongst these cities, these countries. But at what point do we bring the municipalities in to discuss the ins and outs of this bid?
Well, we have already. We've started those engagements. You know, it's a little early. Just advise everybody, we still haven't received anything from FIFA guiding us on the principles of the competition and the technical specifications. So we're a little early, and once we receive those documents from FIFA, we're in a better position to speak to municipalities, the province, and the federal government as to how we could shape this in the best interest for our country and for our fans.
Nothing wrong with starting early, but, you know, anytime we talk about these massive sporting events, people want to know how much it's going to cost. How much are Canadians going to be on the hook for in something like this?
No, that's a good question, Ben, and we're not there yet because, again, we haven't received the documents from FIFA. We're still working with the United States and Mexico. But the one thing I will say is the opportunity to go with the United States and Mexico has allowed us that opportunity, I guess, not to have the great expenditures that maybe Brazil had incurred for the Olympics and or the Men's World Cup that they hosted in succession. We really don't want to get into that situation. And that's why partnering with the United States and Mexico was the best alternative. We all get a piece of it without really creating this whole infrastructure economy that's not sustainable for the future. So we feel very comfortable aspect.
Peter, my last question is about what you just referred to as getting a piece of it. Have there been discussions yet about specific matchups, specific games, and how deep into the tournament Canada would host these things? Because the fear would be that we would get some early games or some games that maybe wouldn't be meaningful to the people in those cities, and then the marquee matchups would be given to other cities. Have you guys had those discussions yet?
There's been some discussion. I mean, all the matches are meaningful when we get to this competition, because any match that you lose, you're basically out of the competition. Certainly, we're looking to take it from beginning up until maybe a round of 16, which is the final 16 countries. I think that's something that Canada can offer. From the quarterfinals on, those discussions will primarily be held in America, and those matches will primarily be in America.
Peter Montopoli, General Secretary of Canadian Soccer, thank you so much for being here. Very exciting time for you.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.